what was going through your minds as you drove into Paramount?
Oh. It looked like death warmed over. I had no idea. I had never driven into California. I always flew in for speaking engagements and so forth. And when we came through Las Vegas, the air conditioning went out in our car, and it was 115, 117 degrees to drive through the Mojave Desert. The boys were all crying in the back. Shirley was sitting there with a long face, and Chris was sitting on her lap crying because it was hotter than a pistol. All the windows down, winds flying through, and the boys said, "Dad, you're bringing us out here to kill us." And when we drove into Paramount, we had no idea that how badly the school system was. The grass was about 3 feet high, it hadn't been mowed, and the cows, the pastures, the dairies there were still 25 dairies in Paramount, and manure was about 10 feet high, and the cows were walking on top of the manure, and the fences were all broken down because they were being taxed out of the area. And so as we drove in, it looked like we came into Death City. But God knew what He was doing, and gave us a real challenge, and we fell in love with the place, and we're there for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Grandma, what were you thinking?
Well, it was pretty depressing as we came in into the city, but the church itself, they were delightful people. And once the kids got into the school, it was a good situation, but it was not easy. It was a test of our faith, and we knew this is where we're supposed to be. We didn't know just how it was all going to go, and our knees were shaking. We pretended to the boys that everything was fine, but when we'd be alone, we'd go, "Oh dear, what have we got ourselves into?" Right?
Yeah, but it was a beautiful thing because there was a lot of drugs were flowing. There was a lot of brokenness, and the interesting thing is, people said if you go into that pagan city, your kids will go to hell in a handbasket.
Oh yeah.
But it was precisely because of the brokenness and the pain that it drove our boys into the heart of the church, and they'd ask, "How come we don't do things like that?" And so we talked about the covenant, about the fact that we're committed to God and that God's going to use us in some way. So they got the picture of covenant theology and kingdom theology. They got the picture that they would be salt and light out there instead of going with the gang to go against the gang. And so that it was a shaping time for them. Precisely because of the brokenness, they got shaped for the kingdom.
And there were prayer partners. Kevin and Carl were prayer partners. Keith and Ken were. And drew them together, I think, as siblings also. Well, that was good.
So what does that mean, prayer partners? You had them pray together, or yeah?
We'd sit around the table and we would pray in the morning as we sent them off, and then we said, "You two pray for each other."
Okay.
One of the things that we really did was let family time be family time. So we took the phone off the hook at 5:30, and from 5:30 to 6:30 we had people coming all the time wanting to see the boys and girls coming.
Yeah.
We had to say we don't take any doorbells or any phone calls from 5:30 to 6:30. So that was family time. And then we'd have them pray across for one time we'd have them pray for the person on the right, another time the person across the table. And if somebody had a challenge, we'd all pray for that person with a challenge, so that we let it be a family altar time, a Bethel. The church, the house became a little Bethel, a house of God.